I remember the look of concern on his face when he told me, Andrew, I started working at 12 years old to save hard for my future, and now you're telling me to do the opposite. Hey everyone, I'm Andrew. I'm the owner of Lever Wealth Management, which is a flat fee, full service wealth management firm. And I'm a CFA charter holder and CFP professional who has spent the last several years working with ultra high net worth and high net worth clients who specifically had complex situations. And my point of doing these videos is to take the learnings that I've had from those thousands of reps and give them to you so that you can apply them to your situation. And so today, what I wanted to talk about was this paradoxical shift that happens in retirement. It made me think of a specific situation where I'm meeting with someone and they had a couple $1,000,000, pension, Social Security that added up to roughly $60,000, $70,000 a year of income. And we run through the retirement analysis, do the probability distribution, all those good things that we've talked about in other videos. And very high probability, not spending above their means, able to do some Roth conversions. And I think the meeting's going well. But I can see throughout the meeting where I think with each step of the way, the client should become calmer because I'm giving good news after good news after good news. I notice he's becoming more tense after the good news, more tense after the good news, more tense. And I don't get it. And so I asked him, I said, Mr. Client, what's wrong? And with concern in his eye, he said, Andrew, I started working at a very young age. And first he was throwing papers, right? He's a paper boy. Worked through high school, worked through college, obviously worked as an employee. And he said, I did that because it was ingrained in me from my parents from a very young age that you work hard and you save your money and you live below your means. And now what you're telling me with this pool of money that I have is to stop saving and start spending. I said, yeah, that's what I'm saying, but you've done this great job. You've worked so hard and you saved this money so that you can do these things. And he said, I understand that intellectually, but emotionally, that's very difficult for me to implement. And I've seen this many different times, and that's just an illustrative story, but I think it rings true for a lot of people who have put themselves in that situation. They've been hard workers and disciplined savers their whole lives. And then we get to retirement planning. We say, hey, you're going to have this withdrawal rate and start spending down these assets. And then when Social Security kicks in, you'll lower this. But the fact of the matter is it's very difficult for a lot of people to turn on the decumulation phase of their retirement. And so I was thinking to myself, because I've seen this with several people, there have been a few tips and tricks over the years that I have found helpful. The first one is make sure you have a base of income that's guaranteed. And for some people, this really, really helps them because they feel like they're still getting a paycheck. And so if your base monthly expenses are $5,000 a month and your Social Security is $4,000 a month, if you have a pension, great. Some people want, a guaranteed annuity or something like that. There's a lot of bad annuities out there, but there are some good ones as well. It's all about trade-offs. But building a base of income that's not affiliated or correlated with equity or fixed income markets can be a great way to feel like you're not having to decumulate your assets. I have this as my base, and everything else on top of that is free. Another way, which I've spoken about quite a few times, is what's called time segmentation, or some people call it the bucket strategy. And what that is you still pay yourself a monthly income, like it's a salary, but you have bonds coming due the next several years. It all depends on your risk tolerance and risk capacity. But you may have bonds for the next 3, 4, or 5 years that come due. So you would have cash for the rest of 2024, a bond that comes due at the end of this year for next year's income, a bond that comes due at the end of 25 for 26's income, so on and so forth. That's just going on in the background. Every month you're getting $5,000 a month. Another somewhat sillier way to get around this feeling is if you have more net worth than you need and you can distribute it and it's still most likely going to grow. I've had some clients who say, I need that $5,000 a month. My investments generate $6,000 a month. Send me $6,000 and I'm going to start $1,000 a month savings into a higher risk equity portfolio or something along those lines. And so for them, it's a bit convoluted, but it scratches the itch of still feeling like you're saving some money. You know, you could just change the asset allocation, but for some people, they go, no, I want to see the income because I've worked really hard for that, but I also don't want to feel like I'm spending every dollar that I get. And so having that extra $1,000 a month that I'm saving back, it feels like I've never stopped that. And I would say that's more a workaround if it's really an issue. And my last encouragement with this is I see so many people who say, at my death, I want my money to go to my kids, or I have this philanthropic cause that's near and dear to my heart that I want to make sure gets taken care of. And while that's great, a good way to help shift you into the decumulation mindset is to start seeding those investments to the next generation, to the charities today. And I'm not saying you give $100,000 to your kids tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is if you're willing to give your kids $1 million in 15 years, perhaps give a $5,000 to $10,000 seed today so that A, you can see them enjoy it, B, you can test out their responsibility, and C, you give them a little bit of the burden and weight of managing wealth today, which is important. People need to feel that. But it also helps you use the muscle of spending your money. It's just you're spending it on those things that you are already saying are important to you. It's not just your day-to-day living expenses. You've already said, I want my kids to get my money. You've already said, I want that charity to get my money in the future. But a way to use that muscle and grow it today is just by starting with small seed amounts to help forward those causes for people that you care about. So I hope you found those helpful. And obviously everyone's situation is different, but what I did notice is that person, the way they felt, a lot of other people have felt that way too. Until next time, see everyone.